Ladies and gentlemen, focus is a spiritual responsibility. In 2026, God is calling men and women to return to themselves, to silence the noise of opinions, comparisons, and unnecessary explanations. Growth is often loud inside, but quiet outside. When you learn to stay silent, you protect what God is building in you. Not every battle needs your voice. While others speak, you grow. While others announce, you prepare. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom, alignment, and maturity before God. Focus is a spiritual responsibility because attention is the doorway through which destiny is accessed. In the spirit, nothing grows without sustained attention. God releases instructions, ideas, burdens, and visions, but it is the responsibility of the individual to keep their eyes fixed long enough for those things to take shape. Many people receive divine directions, but abandon them halfway because their focus shifts. Distraction is subtle. It does not always come as sin. Sometimes it comes as noise, pressure, or unnecessary curiosity. When focus is lost, clarity fades, and when clarity fades, effort becomes wasted motion. Spiritual responsibility means you are accountable for where your mind dwells. You cannot live carelessly and expect precision in results. Focus trains the soul to remain aligned even when emotions fluctuate. Feelings change, seasons change, but focus keeps you consistent. God trusts focused people because they can steward instructions without diluting them. When attention is divided, obedience becomes selective. People obey what excites them and ignore what stretches them. Focus eliminates that weakness by anchoring the heart to purpose rather than comfort. Focus requires intentional separation. You cannot focus while trying to please everyone. The hunger for validation pulls attention away from assignment. Many destinies are delayed because people keep checking who is watching instead of what God is saying. Focus teaches you to work without applause. It builds inner strength, the kind that does not depend on encouragement to continue. When focus is strong, you do not need constant reassurance. You understand that progress is often invisible before it becomes evident. A focused life is a disciplined life. Discipline is not punishment, it is alignment. Focus disciplines your schedule, your conversations, and your reactions. You begin to value silence because silence preserves energy. You stop reacting to everything because reaction wastes strength. Focus helps you recognize what deserves a response and what deserves restraint. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every opportunity deserves your involvement. Focus filters choices so your energy is invested, not scattered. Focus also reveals priorities. Whatever dominates your attention reveals what you truly value. Spiritual growth demands that eternal things receive first place. When prayer becomes rushed, meditation becomes shallow, and reflection becomes rare, focus has already been compromised. Focus is what allows the Word of God to move from information to transformation. A distracted mind may hear truth, but cannot retain it. Depth requires staying long enough for roots to form. There is resistance that comes with focus. The moment you decide to concentrate, distractions multiply. This is not accidental. Focus threatens chaos. It threatens mediocrity. It threatens every force that benefits from your inconsistency. Staying focused means learning to endure boredom, repetition, and slow progress. Many people quit not because something is wrong, but because results are not immediate. Focus keeps you steady when emotions want speed, but wisdom demands patience. Focus is how purpose matures. Immaturity jumps from one thing to another seeking excitement. Maturity stays committed even when excitement fades. God often tests focus before releasing increase. Small responsibilities reveal whether attention can be sustained. If you cannot guard little instructions, larger assignments will overwhelm you. Focus is proof that you are ready to carry weight. It shows that you can manage growth without losing direction. When focus is established, confusion begins to lose its power. Many people are confused not because they lack guidance, but because they entertain too many voices. Focus silences unnecessary input. You begin to hear clearly because your inner world is no longer crowded. Decisions become easier when distractions are removed. Focus simplifies life by reducing options to what truly matters. Spiritual responsibility also means protecting focus from emotional leakage. Offense, comparison, and bitterness drain attention. When emotions are unmanaged, focus collapses. You cannot move forward while constantly revisiting wounds. Focus teaches you to heal without pausing destiny. It helps you acknowledge pain without allowing pain to define direction. Attention placed on hurt will multiply hurt. Attention placed on purpose will produce strength. Focus partners with grace. Grace supplies ability, but focus directs it. Without focus, grace is present, but underutilized. When attention aligns with divine instruction, grace flows efficiently. This is how ordinary effort produces extraordinary results. Focus does not make the journey easy, it makes it effective. It ensures that every step contributes to growth rather than confusion. Silence protects destiny because not everything growing should be exposed. In the spirit, silence is not emptiness, it is preservation. Many destinies are damaged not by opposition, but by overexposure. When something is spoken too early, it becomes vulnerable to misunderstanding, envy, and premature judgment. God often conceals before he reveals. He hides precious things until they are strong enough to stand. Silence is the covering that keeps vision safe while it matures. Destiny is fragile in its early stages. Ideas, callings, and divine instructions begin as seeds, not trees. A seed does not announce itself. It stays buried until its roots are deep enough. Silence is the soil where destiny takes root. When people speak too much about what God is doing, they invite unnecessary interference. Not everyone listening has the capacity to interpret your process correctly. Some people only see outcomes, not journeys. Silence removes the pressure to explain what is still forming. Silence also protects focus. Words carry energy. Every explanation drains strength. When you constantly talk about your plans, you unconsciously begin to seek affirmation. Approval becomes fuel instead of obedience. Silence breaks that dependency. It trains you to move based on conviction, not applause. Destiny requires stamina, and stamina is preserved when energy is not wasted on constant communication. Silence allows you to conserve emotional and spiritual resources for growth. Many people confuse silence with weakness, but in truth, silence is mastery. It takes strength to remain quiet when misunderstood. It takes discipline to withhold response when provoked. Destiny demands emotional intelligence. If every comment moves you, your life will lack direction. Silence gives you authority over reactions. You stop being controlled by opinions and start being governed by purpose. When destiny is clear, silence becomes easier because you are no longer trying to convince anyone. Silence also protects timing. God works with seasons. Speaking too early can accelerate pressure before preparation is complete. Some doors require maturity before access. When destiny is announced prematurely, expectations rise before capacity is built. Silence allows growth to catch up with promise. It buys time for character to develop alongside calling. Many gifted people collapse because their voices arrived before their foundations. Silence delays exposure until alignment is complete. There is also spiritual warfare connected to silence. Not every battle is fought by confrontation. Some battles are won by restraint. When you speak unnecessarily, you reveal strategies to the enemy. Silence confuses opposition. It removes information. Destiny advances quietly when there is less resistance. God often instructs people to move without announcement because secrecy reduces sabotage. Silence is not fear, it is strategy. Silence protects your inner world. When words are reduced, reflection increases. You become more aware of motives, patterns, and direction. Destiny requires self-awareness. Silence creates space for correction and adjustment. Noise hides flaws, but silence exposes areas that need refinement. Growth happens faster when you listen more than you speak. Silence positions you to hear God clearly without interference from your own voice. Silence also guards relationships connected to destiny. Not everyone in your circle is assigned to your future. Oversharing can create unnecessary tension, jealousy, or comparison. Silence sets boundaries without confrontation. It allows people to reveal their true posture over time. Destiny requires discernment, and discernment grows in quietness. When you speak less, you observe more. Observation reveals loyalty, intent, and alignment. There is a level of wisdom that only silence can produce. Wisdom knows when to speak and when to withhold. Speaking at the wrong time can undo years of preparation. Silence trains patience. It teaches you to wait without anxiety. When destiny is real, there is no need to rush announcements. What is built by God will speak for itself at the right time. Silence removes the pressure to prove anything. Silence also protects confidence. When you explain yourself repeatedly, doubt begins to creep in. You start adjusting your path to match people's expectations. Silence anchors you internally. You become rooted in what you know God has said, not in how people respond. Destiny becomes steadier when it is internally affirmed rather than externally validated. In a noisy world, silence becomes a competitive advantage. While others are busy announcing, comparing, and defending, silent people are building. Progress often happens quietly before it becomes visible. Destiny moves fastest when it is not distracted by attention. Silence allows work to continue uninterrupted. It creates momentum without pressure. Silence does not mean isolation. It means intentional communication. You speak when words add value, not when emotions demand release. Destiny thrives in environments where words are measured and purposeful. When silence becomes a habit, clarity increases. Strength is preserved and growth remains protected. Discipline your attention and energy because both are limited resources, and whatever wastes them weakens your future. Life does not collapse all at once. It erodes slowly through unmanaged attention and careless energy spending. Every day, countless demands compete for your focus. And without discipline, you become reactive instead of intentional. Spiritual growth, personal development, and destiny advancement all require the ability to decide what deserves your attention and what must be ignored. When attention is undisciplined, energy leaks into places that offer no return. Attention is the steering wheel of the mind. Where it turns, the whole life follows. If your attention is constantly pulled by trends, opinions, controversies, and comparisons, your inner world becomes fragmented. Discipline trains your attention to remain fixed even when distractions are loud. It is not that distractions disappear. It is that they lose authority. A disciplined mind does not chase every notification, argument, or opportunity. It learns to stay with what matters long enough for it to produce results. Energy follows attention. Whatever you focus on begins to consume strength. This is why emotional battles are so draining. Worry, offense, bitterness, and fear are expensive emotions. They demand energy but produce nothing. Discipline teaches you to recognize when something is draining you without adding value. You begin to withdraw energy from unnecessary emotional investments. Not every issue deserves emotional involvement. Not every situation requires your passion. Discipline helps you regulate intensity so you are not exhausted by things that do not contribute to growth. Many people are tired not because they are doing too much, but because they are doing too much of the wrong things. Undisciplined energy creates burnout. You can be busy all day and still feel empty because your energy was spent on distractions rather than purpose. Discipline brings alignment between effort and outcome. It helps you direct strength toward activities that build capacity. Discipline also requires learning how to pause. Constant engagement drains clarity. A disciplined person knows when to rest, reflect, and withdraw. Rest is not laziness, it is strategy. Without rest, energy becomes scattered and attention weakens. Discipline allows you to step back without guilt, to recharge without anxiety. It teaches you that sustainability matters more than speed. Long-term impact requires pacing, not constant pressure. Attention discipline also affects what you consume mentally. What you watch, listen to, and meditate on shapes perception. If your mind is constantly filled with negativity, conflict, or unrealistic standards, your energy will be spent trying to cope rather than create. Discipline filters input. You become selective with information because you understand that mental clutter reduces spiritual sensitivity. Clarity thrives in environments where attention is guarded. Energy discipline includes emotional boundaries. When you allow people unlimited access to your emotions, you lose strength. Discipline teaches you when to engage and when to. Detachment is not coldness, it is wisdom. You cannot afford to emotionally process everything people say or do. Some comments should pass without reaction. Some situations should pass without explanation. Discipline helps you remain stable when circumstances try to provoke you. Discipline also strengthens consistency. Motivation fluctuates, but discipline sustains movement. When attention is disciplined, you show up even when you do not feel inspired. Energy is preserved because you are not relying on emotion to act. This is how small actions compound over time. Progress becomes inevitable when effort is repeated with focus. Undisciplined attention leads to comparison, and comparison drains energy faster than hard work. When you constantly measure yourself against others, your attention shifts from purpose to performance. Discipline pulls your focus back to your own assignment. You stop monitoring other people's progress and start managing your own responsibility. Energy once wasted on envy or insecurity is redirected into improvement. Discipline is also about saying no. Every yes costs energy. Without discipline, people overcommit and underdeliver. You cannot give your best when your energy is divided. Discipline empowers you to decline opportunities that do not align with your direction. It removes the fear of missing out and replaces it with clarity. When attention is disciplined, choices become easier because priorities are clear. Attention and energy together determine momentum. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions at once. Life begins to feel intentional. Actions are purposeful. Effort produces growth. Strength is renewed because it is no longer wasted. Discipline does not make life rigid, it makes it effective. Preparation happens in quietness because growth requires space, patience, and privacy. Loud environments favor performance, but quiet environments favor development. When everything around you is noisy, inner formation becomes difficult. God often withdraws people before he advances them. This withdrawal is not rejection, it is refinement. Quiet seasons reduce external pressure and create room for internal work. Preparation demands attention to detail, and detail is best handled in silence. Quietness allows foundations to be laid without distraction. Many failures are not due to lack of talent, but weak foundations. Foundations are built slowly, deliberately, and often unnoticed. Noise pushes people to rush, but quietness teaches endurance. When no one is watching, motives are purified. You learn whether you are committed to the assignment or addicted to attention. Skills may develop in public, but character forms in private. How you think, respond, and choose when no one is present determines how you will stand when exposure comes. Quiet seasons confront internal issues that noise helps you avoid. Pride, insecurity, impatience, and fear surface when distractions are removed. Preparation requires facing these things honestly. Quietness does not flatter you. it reveals you. Quietness also sharpens perception. When voices are reduced, sensitivity increases. You begin to notice patterns, corrections, and instructions that were previously drowned out. Preparation requires listening more than speaking. Many people miss guidance because they are constantly talking or consuming information. Quietness creates an atmosphere where reflection becomes natural. You gain clarity about direction, timing, and method because your mind is no longer overloaded. Preparation in quietness protects you from premature exposure. Exposure before preparation can destroy confidence. When people are seen before they are ready, mistakes become public and pressure becomes overwhelming. Quiet seasons allow you to fail privately, learn safely, and grow steadily. Mistakes become teachers rather than wounds. Preparation is kinder when it happens away from scrutiny. Quietness gives you permission to grow without fear. Quietness strengthens patience. In silence, time slows down. You become aware of process instead of outcomes. Preparation is process heavy. It involves repetition, correction, and waiting. Quietness teaches you to value progress even when it feels slow. It removes the urgency to rush results. When patience is developed, pressure loses its power. You stop measuring success by speed and start measuring it by stability. Preparation also requires alignment, and alignment happens best in stillness. When you are constantly moving, adjusting becomes difficult. Quietness allows recalibration. You examine what works and what does not. You refine methods, attitudes, and priorities. Preparation is not just about adding skills. It is about removing excess. Quietness exposes what is unnecessary. You begin to simplify, and simplicity increases effectiveness. Quietness builds inner confidence. Confidence formed in noise is fragile because it depends on response. Confidence formed in quietness is rooted because it comes from growth, not approval. When you know you have prepared, you are not easily shaken by criticism. Quiet preparation creates an internal assurance that cannot be borrowed or faked. It gives you stability when pressure increases. Preparation in quietness also deepens resilience. When you learn to work without external stimulation, you develop endurance. Quiet seasons teach you to self-motivate, self-correct, and self-sustain. This resilience becomes essential when responsibilities multiply. Those who cannot function without noise struggle under pressure. Quietness trains you to remain steady even when things become demanding. Quietness also creates intimacy with God. Many divine instructions are whispered, not shouted. Preparation requires closeness, and closeness requires stillness. When life slows down, your sensitivity to divine leading increases. You begin to understand timing, not just direction. Quietness aligns your will with God's process. You learn to move when released and wait when restrained. Preparation refines discernment. In quietness, you observe without reacting. You learn to read situations, people, and seasons accurately. Discernment grows when you are not rushed. Quiet preparation sharpens judgment because decisions are not made emotionally. You develop the ability to see beyond appearances and respond wisely. Preparation happens in quietness because strength is accumulated gradually. Noise seeks instant visibility, But quietness builds lasting capacity. What is formed in silence carries depth, weight, and stability. When the season of exposure finally arrives, quiet preparation ensures that what is revealed can be sustained.